Hi guys, welcome back. This is the Frogger video, continuation of the Frogger video. This is kind of what we're going to achieve today, which is collision response. So when Froggy tries to get home and there's already a frog inside his home, he dies. If he gets hit by a truck, he dies. Actually, if he falls in the water, he dies, but we don't get to that in this video. However, we do build a debug component to show where areas are, and it comes in super handy for debug. So all of that and more is after the fade. All right, so we've got four things in this video. We've got the Frogger dies when he touches water or touches the car. I want to add a debug draw to figure out where the water is, and we got a funny feeling it's between 48 and 128, but I want a debug feature in there anyway so I can draw rectangles on the screen to represent areas. It's always a handy thing to have. Player reset, we have a collision response. So the collision detection is, did we hit something? And then the collision response is what we need to do. So we already have a player reset response. So when the frog reaches home, that's a response to the collision detection of did the frog end up in its home. So that needs to be edited. So if you die or whatever, so if you hit the frog while you're in there, you die, you get reset. So we need to add the animation for that as well. And then it would be nice if we could get the logs in water, and then that would allow the river crossing to actually happen. That's a kind of nice to have for this video. I kind of want to keep this video as short as possible. Because shorter videos are better for the algos and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how we get on, but let's start with the debug draw first of all. So we go into code here, and let's just see here. So I want to create a debug draw. So that's going to be a component as well. So we have all these controllers, and we have vehicle controllers. Where's the other one here? There's the model, and then we have a view. Okay, so we want to create another view. So this is going to be a debug view. So I'm going to say debug view, debug view. Okay, I need to remember how to do this. So goal view. So this is we need to extend that from base view. And we need to implement it. Yeah, we do. We need to implement that debug draw there. So we have, why is it not liking that? There's no argument given the response form of content manager base. Oh yeah, okay. So we need to do public debug view content manager. Where are we? Base view content manager sprite batch. Okay, so we need that and that. Ignore the colons. Again, I don't use C# every day now, so that I come back to this and I'm like, all right, okay, that's how we do things in C#. Yeah, there you go. But we do want to call the base class, so we're going to call it with content manager and sprite batch, and that should satisfy that. Now, what we need in here though is we need to be able to draw different rectangles. So we also need a public void add rectangle. We'll give this a name, and then rectangle. Rect, and we'll say rectangle goals name equals rect. Mainly because we need to remove the rectangle. Do we want that to be a list, or do we want it to be? No, let's just make it. Let's make it a dictionary. So private read only dictionary rectangles equals new rectangle, and we'll make that why is that not liking that? Oh, that's why. Equals new dictionary rectangle. Okay. Right. I think that's all the mistakes I'm going to make today. And then when we draw it, we're going to have to iterate through these here. So we also need to know the color as well. So maybe we can have what if we had a struct? Let me do this inside here. Rect. And then we'll call that rectangle. Rect. Color. So let's have a rectangle of rects. That there. Because we want to be able to create, we want to be able to color it so we can have multiple ones in there. We don't want to just have, you know, a white rectangle and then another white rectangle. We want to be able to sort of have the color there. So the color here is going to be new rect, and we're going to use this here and say rect equals rect. Why is it not liking that? Use expression body for methods. Okay. Equals color. Why is it not liking that? Oh, that's why. So it's not going to like color because I don't have a color there. So I'm going to say color equals, oh no, I can't put that. You have to specify color because it's got to be a constant. It has to be a static constant value. So you can't say color equal, you can't create a default value here, color.white, for example. I think it balks at that because it's not, yeah. Default parameter value must be a compile time constant, which it is not. So we can't use that. And then we're going to say for each var rect in rectangles, we're going to draw whatever the rectangle is. So we're going to say sprite batch dot draw, and then we're going to have a texture, whatever that texture is, and then the destination rectangle is rect dot value dot rect. Rect.value.color, because this is going to go through all the key value pairs. And then for our texture, I'm going to have a private read-only texture 2D texture, and then we're going to set that inside the constructor. So we can use read-only because we're setting it inside the constructor. Equals new texture 2D. And it's going to be the graphics device. So do we have that? Sprite batch dot graphics device. There we go. We do. And it's going to be 1 by 1. We only want it to be 1 by 1. And then we're going to have texture dot set data. And what can we make this? I think we can choose color. It'll be new color dot white. I think that's acceptable, and that sets the data. So we basically have a white rectangle, and now we can actually use, because it's a white rectangle, we can draw whatever color we want on it, and it won't affect it because white is just 1 1 1 1 1 1. So if we want to have like a translucent color, then we can change the tint when we call this, when we add a rectangle to this. So going back to where are we? Game state. I'm going to add a debug component here. So I'm going to say views dot add new debug view, state machine game.content sprite batch. That's all we need to do. And then to add our rectangle, we're going to do, actually we need to know what that is. So I'm going to say debug view and debug view equals that. Then I'm going to add a debug view up to here. Private read only debug view, and then I'm going to do debug view dot add rect, and then the rect is going to be river, new rectangle, and it is 0.48, and then the width is going to be 144, I think it is, and then the height is 128 minus 48, so that is 80. Add rect, and we need to give it the color, new color, and then we're going to make this color dot red, and then the alpha is going to be 0.25, so that's a quarter. Yeah, so it should be transparent, and that should draw a rectangle on the screen. Boom. Well, we got that wrong. So is it transparent though? Oh, it is. Look at that. There you go. There's Frogger going through that. So it's not, for me, 144. Is it 256? Compile that. Boom. Okay, so the death of Froggy is going to be when he enters this area here. That's our little debug there. And we can change, like, we should be able to change that from, like, 0.25 to 1, for example, and it should be more blue now. Not much of a difference. Well, I mean, it's working. It's a debug texture. That's fine. And we can add more as well. So we could have path, and then this could be purple. And then the path would be 16, and it would be at 128. And that should draw a path. That should draw over the top of the path. There you go. You can see the path is a slightly different color now, and Froggy should be, yeah, there you go. He's a slightly different color when he goes in there as well. So that's good. And just for completeness, what we should do is we should also have a public void remove rect if rectangles.contains name rectangles.remove name, and that's it. That's all we need for the debug draw. So there you go, debug draw in 48 lines of code, and most of that is white space. So if you've ever wanted to know how to draw a debug rectangle in MonoGame, there's a quick and dirty implementation of it there. And it even keeps in with a model view controller program. So that's kind of good. All right. Although technically it should take in a series of rectangles, so we're actually munging the, doesn't matter. Okay. Right, so what happens when he dies? So when Froggy dies, where are we? Home animation controller. There's a home controller somewhere. Is this it here? Update. No, that's not it there. Is it in the frog controller? Go container model. Where's the player controller? Player controller. Animation, update, state. Okay, so that's just containing that. Goal controller. Goal controller there. So it calls player reset. So player reset is iReset, and the player reset is the player controller. Okay, so the player controller is that there. So right now, all we do is we reset the position to be there. What we wanted to do now, though, is we wanted to play the frog animation. So frog animation, update, 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 cooldown, key state. Okay, so we want to do a new animation, but we don't want to allow. So when they die, we want to reduce the number of lives, change the animation to frames 19, 20, 21, and 22. Disable input, and once complete, do this. Okay, so that's what we need to do, is change the animation to those frames, and then don't allow any movement. So the frog animation should be that moves the player. So we don't want to move the player. So move cooldown period is the time it takes to do that animation. So if they die, I'm not gonna physically move the player, so I'm gonna kill this just now. So I'm going to change the animation here to be 19, 20, 21, 22, and that will then show the death animation. So we'll say animation equals new frog animation. And it's going to move cooldown period, and we don't want to move it anywhere, so we're moving it from the current position to the current position, because we're just going to keep this as it is. And we also want to disable movement. So I'm going to create a new feature in here called disable movement equals true. And I'm going to have private bool disable movement equals false. So disable movement is going to disable movement. So I'm going to say if disable movement, return. I'm just going to bail out early. Or should I do that, or should I, you know what, let's do it the proper way. So let's have, if it's not disable movement, do all this. Okay, that way we're not bailing out halfway through, because that's kind of bad practice. That's okay because it's near the top, although that's definitely okay because it is near the top. But yeah, we don't want to run this. Oops. We don't want to run all of this if we're playing the death animation. So we can test the death animation out just now after we fix these bugs. We can test it just now because we can actually go home, and then once we go home, we can try going home again. Oh, see, there you go. There's a death animation. Oh, because it played that there. Okay. So we need to do this afterwards then. So if they've been disabled, in other words, or let's change that from disable movement to InDeath Animation, which is a bit more explicit. So InDeath Animation is true. So if it's that and it's not done, and if it is that and it is done, change it to be that. If InDeath Animation, so if it's InDeath Animation, we want to take this. Oh dear, we don't want to do that. We want to cut that there. And we want to say that. InDeath Animation equals false. But the move cooldown period is kind of short, so we need to make that a little bit longer for that. So we're going to say private static float death cooldown period equals 0.5. So I'll make it half a second. That's probably good enough. And let's get rid of that debug view game state because we've figured it out, so we don't need it anymore. So we're going to comment it out rather than delete it. And now we go up here. No, still doing that. What am I doing wrong? I do up, I do up, I do up. So I think the problem is it's when it finishes that movement. Where we go? So when it's done, and then frame equals animation current frame. Position equals animation position. Frame equals that. Okay. Let's change that to that. So it fits in the death animation. We want to reset it. We don't want to move it down to there. And we probably want to set the animation to be something else, something kind of neutral. So we want it to, how do we set the initial animation on this? There we go. No, let's reset our model. Update. What is the initial animation? Model. So model. Frame is equal to 34. Okay. So we'll set the model frame to be 34. Model. Oh no, that is there. Okay. So it is there. We should maybe translate that back to. Okay, let's keep going. Animation is that. Duration is that. Let's just jump in here. It's not done. Current equals current plus that. Alice slice. Slice. Okay. Current is greater than that. Why does that keep on getting reset? Because it's keeping on getting reset. Reset mode equals reset. Death. Okay, that's why. Okay, so if the reset mode is death, then we want to do that. Okay, because we don't want to do it all the time. So if we keep on going through here, no, it's still doing it. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. And not in death animation. So if we're currently in a death animation, we don't want to do anything. We just don't want to interact with anything. We just want to do the death animation and then get out of it. So if we do this here, okay, that's not right either, but it did do that there. So I'm wondering if this is gonna. Okay, that's the death animation. Okay, that's good. So we shouldn't get another death animation here, but I've got a funny feeling we will. Yeah. So I think the problem is it's when we need to do it when it lands rather than every single time it moves, because it's what's happening is it's moving every single frame and it's going, I'm hitting, I'm hitting, I'm hitting, I'm hitting. So we need to check when it lands. So how do we do that? So go back to game state, we get goal controller and then player controller. Okay. So update that there. So I think what we do is we do it when it lands. So when it lands, oh shoot, we have a player here, player controller, and let's do public event event handler player move finished. And what we're going to say is when the move is finished, we signal that, and then you can start the collision detection. So rather on every single update, we just do it once the player's moved. So down here we have done. So if the animation is done and you're in the death animation, do that. Otherwise, we want to do invoke this comma event args.empty. So that bit there just means if we have something attached that's observing this particular event, then we want to tell that thing that we've finished moving. So in the goal, we get the player reset and we get the player model. So I'm going to add a public event handler. What do I call it? Oh, memory like a sieve. Move finished. Move finished. So I've got this public event handler move finished. What does it not like about that? Oh shoot, that's why. So an event handler called move finished. Signal when the player has completed their movement. So anytime we complete a movement, that's when we want to check it. So instead of this update, we're gonna have a player reset dot move finished equals player move finished, and then we're going to change this to this object sender event args e. Okay, and that needs to be plus equals, and we can get rid of all of that. Event handler for when a player has finished moving. Frog controller blank event args. Okay, so now it will only, oh, it doesn't like update. Okay, we need to have an update as well. Public void update float delta time update the controller delta time. So we're moving this from more of a polling thing to more of an event driven controller. So hopefully this will not result in this hitting here. Okay, so now we have, oops. No, that's not good. So for a start, that needs to go on top. Actually, you know what? Maybe the problem is it needs to stop the death reset. The controller reset. So if the frog is currently moving, we call this and we say if you're a death and you're not in the death animation, play the death animation and then get out. The problem is that's not, well, that is playing now. And then cooldown. Cooldown equals that. Do I need the cooldown there? Let me think about this for a sec. What if we take this back out here? So let's do that, put that back in there. So we're putting it back in the event. I think it should work with the event. Yeah, see, that's the animation I should be getting, but I shouldn't get it here. So why am I getting it here? The controller reset. Okay. So if I move into this unoccupied home, it immediately goes into death mode. Why? So because it's occupied. that's inside this frame here. That's inside there. Control update. How do I stop it going in there? Okay. So the problem is, it's running this on one frame, and then the next frame, it checks to see if the player area is occupied. But that's inside the cooldown period. So that's got to be the goal. So if I go into player, oops, oh dear, my keyboard, the control key keeps sticking. See what I mean? So if we're else if reset mode equals goal, celebrating equals true. The thing is, I don't do anything if. Hang on a minute. Okay, so I need to, if I'm in the goal, I need to immediately move this out of here. Okay, I think that'll fix it. I think that's the problem, is that it's not resetting. It's not resetting the player when they get to there, and then that's causing the issues. There we go. Okay. Well, that didn't take too long. So now when I hit this, it should blow up. Okay, that's good. So when I go into here, there we go. And then I've got that there. And there you go. So froggy die. Okay. Alright, that's good. And so if I hit that brick wall here, I should also die. So we'll need to figure that one out as well. So maybe we should add that to the list of things to do. Happens when we hit a literal wall. Alright, what about cars? Alright, now we're on a roll. Okay, so in game state, we have a vehicle ModelBRoll, vehicle controller. So in the update, we want to, offset needs to be taken into consideration. Oh yeah, I think we had an issue. Oh, darn it. Whoops. Okay, I think there was an issue with the row. Let's see. Yeah. Well, I mean, at least it's killing it. Okay. Well, we're starting to get a Frogger game. Alright, so point X, Y. Alright, so that's the rectangle there. And then the position is going to be that plus row dot offset left. why do I have a vector? Hey, past me, why is that a vector too? Offset right, would that not be an X? And why is there an offset right and an offset left? Position plus offset right. Okay, so if it's a ghost, then it's offset left. Otherwise, it's offset right. What the hell was I thinking? Okay, so in vehicle controller, I want to figure out what the row is. So var offset equals row ghost equals that. Then I want it to be row dot offset left dot x. Otherwise, I want it to be row dot offset right dot x. Eesh. Okay, I mean, what? What was I thinking? Draw that there. Okay. The y coordinate vector 2. Okay. Well, let's see if that works. Nope. No, definitely not working. Do you know what we need here? We need Debug Draw. Okay, so Debug Draw. Where is Debug Draw? Debug Draw is in game state. And that one there. And then inside our vehicle view, that takes the models in there. So what is models? Vehicle row model. Oh, that's all these guys, isn't it? So let's take the, what's the one at the bottom? I think it's a bulldozer. No, it's the little cars. Is it dune buggy? I think it's dune buggy. Dune buggy. Okay. So for each one of them, we want to add a debug view. Okay, but we just kind of want it for the first frame. So let's get rid of vehicle controller. So now the vehicle should draw in initially and then not draw. Okay, so the vehicles are stopped still. They don't have anything to control them. And the little froggy can still die. Boom. There you go. Okay. So I want to do debug. Let's do debug roll model 0 var model equals that. Right. Vehicles 0 debug view dot add car model.position, new model.position, comma 16, 16, that'll be a rectangle, comma color dot purple. Is it like that? No, it doesn't like that. Okay. New point dot x model dot position dot y. I mean, the framework is supposed to make it easy for you, not difficult. So okay, there's the first one there, which is at that model position. So if we okay, what if we did I mean, that's where it should be. Vehicle controller, update vehicle and vehicles, set player, position X, Y. Oh, that's why. That should be offset. Ha, offset. Okay. All right. Nope. Oh, it seems to like that bit. No. Okay. I should have made this easier to understand, this model view role thing. I mean, the model view controller thing's fine, but I totally screwed up with this role model nonsense. And kind of painted myself in a corner here, but we are where we are. All right, let's make this. Let's make this in here, and then debug remote role model private vehicle role model, that there. And what I want to do is there. So when we do the update, I want to update the position. So I want to say debug view dot remove rect car, and then I want to add the new rect based on the position. So I want to be able to track the position and see where it actually is. Well, that's not any good. Huh. Let's do plus debug role model dot offset distance, which is a fudge factor apparently. Well, the fudge factor is 0. And then we'll add offset right dot x. So we'll see where that goes. Well, I mean, it's kind of there. You can see the debug moving, but it's just not picking up on. Oh, I need to change that. And when you're heading down, yeah, see, it's going upside down. You should change the flip, reverse, and horizontal thing. So you need to fix that as well. Alright, let's do that just now. So we go to player controller, and so we set that to be that, and then we can do our sprite effects model flip. So we say model flip equals none, and we'll do the same thing down here. There you go, we did have that in there. So we'll do that there. Still need that comment. Alright, so why? So. Well, let's draw the player area. Row dot offset distance. I don't think that's going to make a difference, but we'll see. Now, can we do all the cars? Let's do all the cars. Our car in buggy dot vehicles. For each even. How do we do this again? This is plus plus, and we're going to add that there, and that there, and instead of model, let's do that. That one there, that one there. So this should now show all the cars, all the offsets, and everything. Okay, so that one. Huh. So these ones work. Those ghosts don't. That one does. That is interesting. So the collision detection is actually working, just not for the ghost ones. Huh. Now, you see, debug views are helpful. So why is that not working? Collision detection. Vehicle collision intersects that. Each vehicle in row vehicles. But we also need to know the second row. So when we draw the other vehicles, we also need to, that's us controlling the vehicles, but we also have a second set of vehicles. So when we do the vehicle, where are we? Vehicle view. That's the one. Vehicle view. So for each one there, we draw that position right equals that, and if it's a ghost, is that. So we're not for ghost. Gets the double draw state of the road racing car. Rows are not drawn twice. Race car are not drawn twice. Ghosted. Okay. So throw.ghost is that. I don't know. So I think no ghost. Do not draw ghost cars. Draw ghost cars. Okay. Alright. This is the problem going back to code we've written like a month ago. Always have comments, I guess. Alright, so if it's that, then we want to know what the position left is that, and then we want to draw the block there. So we don't want it to be an if, we want it to be an and. Okay. Alright. So in our controller, let's get the debug one sorted out first of all. So if it's a ghost, then the X is that pause left. Okay, so it's going to be that there, and then inside our game state, we're going to add another rectangle, and this is going to be model, and that is going to be debuggy row model offset, and then the pause left is going to be that, and that's going to be point, and this is going to be ghost, and the point, that's going to be pause left, don't need any of this stuff, pause left. Okay, so now that should draw all the cars. There's the cars all getting drawn. So we don't know which ones are which now, but the nice thing is we've got a debug command, so we can change that to red. So now the ghost cars will be in red. And there you go, there's the ghost cars. So the ghost cars don't hurt us. Purple cars don't hurt us. Huh? Okay, we need to check that. Okay. So that's a good thing. That's working then. So we're going to grab inside the controller. We don't want to check to see if it's the ghost is that. We want to have that position. So I'm going to get rid of all the stuff that I just did there. So that's that plus int row dot offset left dot x. So whatever the row offset is, we want to check to see if that intersects that, And then rrect, we also want to have an rrect ghost. And that is going to be, no, we only want to check to see that if it allows for ghosts. If row.ghost equals ghost, we want to check to see if that position is there, plus that would be offset right. Is that right? Let me just check that inside our debug. Offset distance, offset right, and so this one here is going to be, let's just copy this wholesale. Vehicle controller. So that is going to be vehicle row, and that's going to be pause left.x, that one there, and then it's going to be if rrect ghost dot intersects player area reset mode def. Okay, so every car we hit now should, so purple car should kill us. No, still not. Well, the purple cars are killing us. It's not the red cars. Let's roll offset left. That's because of that. That's because of that. It's just that. Okay, so now the red car should kill us. So purple cars definitely kill us, and red cars kill us. Yep, that's good. All right. So now when we get through to here, that should kill us as well. That should kill us. Oh, damn it, that just clipped me. It's actually quite difficult now. Boom. Ah. Oh dear. This is actually quite tricky. And if I move down there, squish. Okay. All right, that's good. So now we can get rid of that debug stuff from our game state. So we can get rid of all of this. Let's just leave it. Let's comment it out. Okay, so we don't need that. We probably don't need that just now. Yeah, we probably don't need that. Okay. So what else have we got to set out to do here? So froggy diamond touching water, we haven't done that bit yet. Death animation, when frog touches car, yep. When frog touches occupied home, that's done. That's not done. Logs and water, add the logs and water to allow river crossing, nice to have. Okay, so the okay, what do we got then? So we need to, oh dear. Okay, let's leave it at that. I think that's good enough for today. Okay, so you got it. We've got most of the collision detection in. I was hoping to get into the water movement, but then I realized we've got the barrier at the top, or the sort of home walls. So we need to do that one first before we do the water. So I think in the next video we'll do the water, we'll do the logs, and that's pretty much it as far as the game's concerned. The major mechanics are in. So then it's just a touch up, polish, and then we'll do the sort of opening screen, that kind of stuff. And I think that's the game done. And maybe leave a comment below if you think this would be kind of good to like want a game to like put on an Android device or an iOS device, whatever. And then we'll see about converting it to work on there. I'm not in any experience of putting MonoGame onto Android devices, so it'll be an interesting uh, experiment. So if you want me to try that, then leave a comment below. Anyway, if you like this video, thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, thumbs down. Thank you all for watching. If you've got this far and you haven't subscribed already, please think about subscribing to the channel. Hit the red notification button and the bell and all that kind of stuff, because reasons. Yeah, I will catch you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.